14,000 years ago, in what is now Western Germany, someone buried a puppy. It was about 7 months old. It had survived a brutal illness, canine distemper, that should have killed it in weeks. Surviving that long meant someone kept it warm, cleaned it, carried it water, fed it by hand, over and over, through bout after bout of a disease that made it useless for hunting, useless for guarding, useless for anything a working animal is supposed to be. And when it finally died, they didn't discard it. They laid it in a grave, beside a man and a woman with objects of value, and buried it like one of their own. Here's the question this grave leaves behind. Why? Why would people on the edge of survival pour weeks of care into an animal that could give them nothing back? The answer changes the whole story of how dogs and humans came together, because the story is usually told backwards. The version most people grew up with goes like this. A brave ancestor plucked a wolf cub from a den, raised it, tamed it, and, generations later, turned wolves into dogs. Humans as the sculptor, the wolf as the clay. But most researchers now think that's not how it began. The problem is obvious to anyone who's ever met an actual wolf. They are not waiting to be adopted. Grabbing cubs from a pack is a good way to get badly hurt. So here's the leading idea instead. When humans started living in settled camps, they started making garbage. Piles of bones, scraps, offal. That waste was free food. And the wolves, bold enough to creep close and tolerate humans nearby, got a meal. The skittish ones fled and got nothing. Over generations, that pressure selected for tameness. The friendliest, least fearful wolves stuck around, bred with each other, and slowly changed, in temperament first, then in body. Floppier ears, shorter snouts, patchy coats, the look of a dog. In other words, humans may not have domesticated wolves at all. A population of wolves may have essentially domesticated themselves by choosing us. It's called self-domestication, and it flips the whole relationship. Humans weren't only the sculptor, they were also the campfire that something wild decided to sit beside. Exactly when this happened is genuinely unsettled. The oldest undisputed dog burials go back around 15,000 years. What almost everyone agrees on is that dogs were the first species humans ever domesticated. Before farming, before livestock, before a single plant was tamed, there were dogs. Consider what that partnership actually did for us. A dog's nose and ears vastly outperform ours. On a hunt, dogs could track prey humans would never find, corner animals too dangerous to approach alone, and hold them until human weapons could finish the job. Two species, each with a different superpower, fused into a single hunting unit, a super predator that neither wolf nor human could be on its own. At camp, dogs were an alarm system that never fully slept. Early warning against predators and rival groups. They were warmth on freezing nights. They helped haul, helped guard, helped find the wounded prey that ran off into the dark. And this is where the story gets bold. The anthropologist Pat Shipman has argued that this alliance may have been a decisive edge in one of prehistory's great mysteries. Why humans survived in Ice Age Europe, while the Neanderthals, who were there first, strong, smart, and well-adapted, vanished. Her provocative idea is that Neanderthals never formed this partnership with wolves. Humans did. And that dog-human hunting machine may have helped them outcompete the Neanderthals for the same prey. Now, to be clear, this is a hypothesis, not a settled fact, and plenty of researchers push back hard on it. There's no genetic proof yet. Some question whether those Ice Age wolf dogs led to modern dogs at all. And Neanderthals didn't simply blink out. They interbred with humans, and their DNA lives in many people today, so drove them to extinction is almost certainly too strong. But even the milder version is striking. Our species may have moved through the Ice Age with a partner at its side that its cousins never had. This relationship didn't just change them, it reached into their faces and into our instincts. Look at this expression, the raised inner eyebrow, that heart-melting, slightly sad, please face. Researchers found that dogs have a small muscle above the eye, the levator anguli oculi medialis, that lets them pull this off. And compared to dogs, the wolf's version of that muscle was barely there. The idea was seductive. Over thousands of years of living with humans, dogs evolved a muscle specifically to trigger the nurturing instinct. Because people couldn't resist the ones who could make that face, so they fed them, kept them, bred them. But there's one honest wrinkle. A newer study found coyotes have a well-developed version of that same muscle too. So whether it's truly a product of domestication is now debated. The face works on us either way. Shelters know it. Dogs who make that expression get adopted faster. And it goes deeper than one muscle. Dogs read human gestures, a point, a glance, better than chimpanzees do, our closest relatives. When a problem stumps them, dogs turn and look back at humans for help. Wolves, even raised by humans, mostly don't. Somewhere in those thousands of years together, dogs became fluent in us. Humans shaped them into the only animal on Earth that looks to our faces to understand the world. And they shaped us right back into a species that feels a pull of tenderness toward a small, needy, big-eyed creature that isn't even its own kind. Which brings us back to that grave in Germany. For weeks, someone chose to care for a dying puppy that offered nothing but its need. And then they buried it with their dead, among things they valued, as family. People often say dogs are man's best friend, like it's a cute modern phrase. But that grave is 14,000 years old. The bond it captures is older than farming, older than writing, older than almost anything we'd call civilization. Humans didn't just tame wolves, they found the one wild thing willing to meet them halfway. And over tens of thousands of years, the two species grew into each other so completely that neither is quite what it was before. The oldest friendship on Earth, and it's probably lying at your feet right now.